Alright, we can start. Alright, thank you everyone for coming to my healer little review. It's not an actual VOD review, like what Hino thinks. It's and then just to talk about what to expect in the role and what you should be doing versus, you can compare to what you're currently doing. We're gonna go over several things. I kind of listed them here, and we're gonna go into specifics, like what makes a good healer in current meta, how do we position, how do we step, sacred placements, how do we help people survive crashes, and how do we best use rapier, and the last thing will be fort macro. Um, this is under the assumption that basics are already known. You kind of already know how to heal. You should know, just your basic role, and that's help people survive, right? Um, I'm not gonna go through armor and stuff like that. This is just like basically a big macro point. So, what makes a good healer in current meta? You have two goals. First one, you have to let your groups or manage to get your group to survive crashes. If they don't survive, then there's no point. You're not actually healing appropriately. And then two is stepping. So once you get those two down, that's what you need for the macro. So we're going to talk about positioning first. And this is for main balls, because kill squads is a whole different world. I can go and that would be like a whole different, that would just be for kill squad people, because it depends per group how everything looks. So here's your point. That looks terrible. There you go. Alright. So what I usually say is I have a diagram that I usually do. I call this the pizza method or pie crust method, pizza crust, pie crust method, whatever. This black circle is your point. You are my little star, my little healer. And the goal is to always be within 25 meters of your group. And you basically tiptoe or always play in this crust, which is your 25-meter point. So you always play around the circle. If you get past this and you're past your 25 meters, you might as well be dead because you can't heal them. So goal is to never go that far out. The farther out you are from point, the worse it'll be for healing. So you try to always maintain this 25, and that includes whenever you're dogged. So if there's someone on you, you need to still maintain this and circle around point to avoid those that are hitting you. So I always give a scenario. So here comes a mean rectangle. Bad guys coming in. Maybe you're group 8 lost. Here they come, going onto road. The first instinct that I see a lot of healers have is they come over here, they just do this and run off point and back into road, and you might as well have died. They did their job. You're 25 meters away from your team, you can't heal. Another thing I see is just they keep going this way and they panic, going all the way to the side until, they run off and the rectangle gives up, your bad guys give up, and they might as well be dead as well. So the thing that I want people to learn is to actually loop. Not just look around, because I think looking around would be first so you can even avoid this scenario, but if you start getting touched, loop around, go to another side, whether it be a different quad, or just loop still around this point, so that way the whole time you're still maintaining 25 meters from your group. Another common scenario is whenever both sides lose, which usually means a flipping roads angle. And flipping roads, exactly like it sounds. Our main road ends up not being safe, so you got people coming in from this side, and then you got people coming in from this side, and then our healers are in a row, they don't know where to go. The best thing you do, since you're like around here, is to actually come up to point, tiptoe it. I don't want you to go through it, because you will die. Come tiptoe to point, get out the other way. Whichever side is easier, usually it's the top top right or top left, depending on what you're looking at if you're attacking or defending, but the point is to tiptoe this point and go to another side. Um, this is usually just a straight up flip road scenario. If you have both kill squads that are kind of roaming around in our road, usually it means that their road is safe. I don't want healers to think that they can only step on one side. You don't have to restrict yourself to just our road. You can heal up here. If it's somehow this up here is free, then by all means heal up here. Doesn't matter where, as long as you're within 25 meters of your group and you can recognize the danger around you and move accordingly. Another thing that you can do, uh, usually it's just this kind of going to the side. Sometimes you can get behind them. So if you notice that they're kind of preoccupied with different healers around you, you can come over here, and get right behind them and still stay in that same quadrant while they continue to move forward and continue to sweep this way. That's one way of doing it. Usually, if you end up touching point or getting close to point, they kind of get scared. They don't want you to, like, they don't want to come into point with you. They'll usually back off. But you still want to go to another quad. So that's all positioning is around point. And this could be for any point. You just have to be able to maintain this 25 meters, and I want you to go around the point, not off to the side where you can't even heal anyways. I want you to go around. Also want to talk about just quads. What does it mean? So we got our lovely group that is over here in top left. You know, what are the best places to position at? Now, we got really lucky with this patch, because I used to say that this is considered your dead zone, because, like, the flag will really mess you up if you play in, like, diagonal to your group. But now you don't gotta worry about that. So you can play from literally anywhere. Usually it's the easiest, and first instinct is to play right below them. That's okay, you can play there. If you start getting any trouble, move to the side, move where you need to be. And you have to just keep an eye on them. And this is technically like your responsibility, right? Your group and your quad. Now that we've talked about positioning, we can talk about stepping. What does stepping look like? And stepping is usually way easier. So, stepping is really easy to predict. I'm gonna draw this in terms of crashes. Let's say your group is, again, top left. Here's your group, somewhere in here. Right, they're top left. Your crash, let's say it's your crash, is top right. Oh, hold up, that's wrong. Here we go. Your crash is up here. Whatever is diagonal to the crash is usually the easiest to step. So healers can end up stepping right here. Or down here, wherever the heck you are able to find space. The goal of your shot caller and the goal of, you know, any crash is to push up, so that way our healers can step down here. So if you have a crash at top right, your best bet for stepping is usually bottom left. You can predict where this crash goes off of where they declump to. So this crash will declump. I usually find they go straight down after, but they can go to the side. You just watch them, and then you can migrate accordingly. So if, let's say, like, for some reason everyone starts coming over here, they declump that way. That means that your next best place to step is right there. And you can literally watch, and it's almost like a ping pong between left and right with crashes. You can predict that way. It makes it easier for you to be able to know when to step and when not to step. The key is to step in unison with other healers during times of crash, so that way there's always constant tick. Because the more people there are at one point, the more tick you get. If the crash is on your people, be mindful. I've had some people that are like, okay, I'm gonna go step, and they're not paying attention to the fact that the crash is on their people. All their people die as they try to get to where they're stepping. Just because they're thinking like, oh, I gotta step, rather than, oh, let me also pay attention to what's going on the point. And make that my priority first, and then step when I can. Depends on how fast that crashes. So that's basically how do we position. That's all that stepping is. It's just watching these clumps and then reacting accordingly. That doesn't mean that if, like, the crash is here, that you can't step here. You can. But I want you to just be very mindful that you're pretty close. They're gonna probably declump this way. If you are stepping, you have to, one, use some sort of potion. Like, usually, if I'm not using cleanse, I'm using the fire pots. So fire pots is a good one to use, like, the instant you start stepping. If you have enough cleanse pots and you're not afraid to use one, by all means, cleanse pot. Right? I'm just gonna put cleanse. And then regen, obviously. You want to give yourself some sort of passive. So that way you're not gonna, like, instant die when you get on there. In times of high tick, and I'm talking like that much, whenever all this is taken, and either you guys are about to lose it or you guys are gonna win it. Preferably when y'all win it. I want you guys to step at around 90% and up. And whenever you do step, take a minute to look at where you're stepping. It doesn't take long. Take a second or two, look at it, look at the point from like a bird's view angle and see where it's appropriate to step. If you just rush to what's in front of you, you might rush right into a crash. You'll die instantly. But if you're noticing like up here is pretty safe, take that moment, go up there. In times of high tick, your like DPS, and I'm talking enemy DPS, your enemies that might be over here that would initially kill you for even trying to go that way are now all on point. So they're not looking at around what's going on at this point, like what's going around. They're all stepping. So you being able to go to like somewhere really far to go step will be easy peasy. No one's gonna bother you. And then step where you need to. And then pop everything that you can, right? If you are gonna pop your heart rune, cool, go for it. It can, be the difference for you being able to live and stuff. Um, just pop your heart rune and your cleanse at different times. So you can start off with your cleanse and step, and then switch over to heart rune when your cleanse is finished, or vice versa. You can start off with your heart rune, and then switch over to cleanse the instant that's finished. It's just so that you can prolong your stepping time, and you're not going to get staggered. Something to remember whenever you are also doing your heart rune. Heart rune gives you 4 to 5 seconds of invulnerability. You can't be shocked, you can't be staggered, you can't be knocked down. It gives you 4 to 5 seconds of that, so if you're gonna heal anyone, whether it be yourself or someone else, do it whenever you're stone formed. So that counts for stepping. Like, if you can step on and continue to heal for at least those 5 seconds to keep everyone else up, cool. That usually will decide the game from then on. It is, if you manage to get this tick, and remember what I said, it's all depends on like us stepping in unity. So if you step at like the 75 mark rather than the 90 mark, you'll end up being pushed out way before your 90%. And then you can't step again because you just used everything. You're just gonna insta-die. So that's why it's best that we do it with like 90-95%. Everyone steps. Every healer finds a little spot that they can step on, and everyone stepping ensures that we get the win. If you die, you die. Like, it's fine, especially for attack. For attack, that's where that matters, because one little person can be what makes us get the win, right? On defense, we're a little more scared to do that unless it's the very, very last point in fort. In defense, you don't want for everyone to just die on that last point trying to defend C, because then the enemies or the people attacking will just rush through A because everyone died. So I don't want you to think about that on defense. On attack, particularly, where stepping is super important, that's where I would say definitely in that 95% devote to trying to stick and step on. Any questions since we've gone over the first two?
Would it be pretty accurate to say that, especially in the current meta where it's super crash heavy, that it seems like healers are what caps points more even than bruisers right now? Like,
Yes. Yeah,
if your
healers and
army
lights.
steps and they don't, then you're gonna win because you're just gonna have more people.
Yep. It's an objective-based game, right? So it's like, as long as there's one extra person that's on point compared to their people on point, that's what causes tick.
I
So
feel
that's why I'm
that,
saying
yeah.
stepping in unity. That's why that's so important, because you could be stepping on and off point, but if there's like no one else stepping with you, do you even make a difference?
What is
It's
it?
got to be everyone.
Is it 3 seconds or 2 seconds? Once you, because it ticks for like 2 seconds after you step off still, right?
Right, you gotta find good points where you can step. That's why I think like looking at your crashes and actually understanding where your crashes are going, and you can predict where they're gonna end up and where you can step. It's pretty much guaranteed that wherever that crash is, there's gonna be somewhere on this point to step, but I don't want healers to like do this where they go whoop and step right here when it's an even match, because then how are they gonna get back out? Like, they're gonna have to go all the way back around. It's more, that's why it's so important for the shot caller or whoever the heck it might be to aim for these crashes to be at the top of point, so that way our healers can step in bottom.
Right. And if we are doing that really well and our shot caller is crashing on top, if the healers aren't stepping, then half of the value of those crashes is immediately gone.
Yep.
I will make
So
sure
it's
that I
almost like
crash
your
those.
obligation.
You can also do like side sidestepping. Like I've totally been playing like bottom right, and then I'll like step over here, and then when it declumps this way, I just go right back to the bottom, but I don't even get off the point because I can predict that that's about to happen. So it's finding a good balance because I don't want people to overstep and they don't recognize danger. So if you are stepping, I don't want you to be looking straight forward, autoing all the time. Look down on yourself. Looking down and doing this bird's eye view allows you to see exactly what's going on, distance-wise, all around you. And you can, see just how far you are from danger and know when you gotta dip. So looking down and alt looking is super important. Anything else? Yep. Don't in.
Yeah, don't die for the tick. Unless it's, I feel like it's black and not so black and white though, right? Like if we're gonna possibly win point and you step, I feel like that would be the only exception.
Yeah, if
Yeah,
it's
that is the only
90% and
exception.
if there's 90% and an all-in call made, you should definitely be stepping somewhere.
Yeah, but don't just, it's 20% tick and you're just gonna step on point when there's a bunch of people around you. Like you have to balance that against your life. If you can step for free and just touch my toes and get back out, then great. If not, then play your life and wait for the all-in call.
I think it also depends on what you're doing, right? So like if we're doing attack, it matters whether or not we get this point on a lot. Like you can step and stay stepping. I've actually stayed stepping. I was the one person that banished a ticket, and then I insta dive, and it was so worth, right? Because it was an attack. A defense is different. If you're stepping up on a defense and you step up and then you're starting to really die, you should probably step out. Because it matters whether or not you die on defense. Because if everyone that is on defense goes in on this all call and they all die, the attacking team can go straight through A gate and instantly win. So defense, you got to be more cautious, and you probably shouldn't give your life up on a defense. You'll see a lot of healers that are actually kind of towards the like 95% mark. They can try to step, but a lot of them are already kind of out here expecting for the loss of the points so that we can go to fort phase. I just don't want all our healers to step when it's a defense and then they all die because it's the last point and everyone's all inning. And now these attackers are going to go straight through A, keg it, and then win. I don't want that either. It's on attack that you can really step and find value in it, and it's kind of okay if you die. Because if you did take the point, it's worth it. Because either way, we'd have to reset if we win on the last point on attack anyways, right? We got to reset with fort phase.
Right.
So it makes sense that you go ahead and try your best to live on point and to step on attack, even when it's might cost you your life.
As
On defense, it may not though.
As a healer and in terms of stepping, do you have respawn caller? Like, do you listen to respawn caller as healers or no?
Yes, but
I do.
I mean, yeah, you should. It also depends on the quad and not the quad, the role. So
Yeah.
kill squad, you should be like kill squad. You need to be listening to respawns.
Because like I know it affects definitely for like other roles. If if the respawn's just hit, it's 50 seconds out. We know to play a lot safer. Like that's an opportunity for healers to not be stepping, if it might even be a little risky. Because now you're gone for 50 seconds if you die.
I also like
so
to
having those
know
dogs.
when they're coming back, because depending on where they're coming from, I might also readjust my position.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because like if your crash is up here, say it's up here, and then the respawns are coming in, and you're stepping down here, expect this to be shifted down as people run out. So you have to either step off point or go to the side and try and see if you can stay on to step. Usually people just back off because I mean the whole like clump is shifting downwards with respawns. Might be best to just completely come off of it. Stepping is what makes the game here. So if like you can be a great healer, but if you don't step, like companies, higher tier companies will take like average healers, but those that step will end up winning the roster. I've actually had that in TFR. We had people that did great, but they never stepped for anything. And so we ended up putting in Killa that's not as good, but at least they stepped as much as they could.
We just saw that in our last war against Dread. We actually had really good kills compared to them, but we didn't put as many feet on the point as they did, and so we got 1 point help. Even though we were getting
Mm.
kills, even though we had good point pressure, just the lack of people who were willing to step kept us from being able to go to fort.
Right,
Same
and
thing
it's
with
not
the
just healers.
15K 3 out of 10 war tonight as well. Like not enough people were stepping the point, even though we were getting kills in space.
Agreed. And the thing is, it's not just healers, so it's like for everyone too. Any light clerk,
Fire
like
stabs. Yeah.
any light, so anyone that
Yep.
can step in
Yep.
this bottom that just so happens to be down here needs to step when they can.
I know it's like people are allergic to it or something.
Nah, people were worried about their KD is what happened,
Yeah.
and they ego
Yep.
the call.
Well, I think also healers a little bit get the well, I can't threaten my life right now because I need to be there to save my team, which
Yep.
is not a like I mean that you're the healer. That makes sense, but also there is a time where that is the right decision.
All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and move to sacred placements. There is a diagram that I know y'all have. I know Mansky
Mhm.
gave it, and it's basically saying that every quad healer is responsible for their quad. Now, that doesn't mean that you, like, let's say, like, the crash is down here. I don't want you to do this. That's not what that means. It means that your sacred should be in this quad, but where in this quad also would help. Because your sacred's not like this. It doesn't cover the whole dang thing. I wish it did, but it don't. So what you'll see in like best case scenario is that here's your crash. You got sacred here. Oh man, I gotta put a different color for this. Okay, sacred here. Jesus Christ, that is not helping me. Give me a second. Okay, there you go. That hurts my eyes. We're
Sacreds
gonna
are blue
just
on
Just
you.
do green.
there you go.
Yeah,
Jesus
I'm
Christ.
blind, so all I see is squiggles.
Okay, so you got one there. You got the AOE that's pretty much right on it. Your top one you'll see that G1 and G2 do whatever the heck they usually do. I think what their best bet is to just put it where it's needed, because you would assume that like top right has got this up here, or like this is would be your G1. Top right can be off point. Okay, so this one, like what do these people do, right? I don't want this. Whenever your crash is this far down, that is still good. Same with this one. This one right there, great. This is your like your 6, right? People will declump out to the top, to the sides. They got somewhere to go for pretty much the whole thing. Now, if you have healers that are like, I'm just gonna put on my bruiser. My bruiser's asking for it. Ba bam, ba bam, 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 bam. Where are they gonna declump to?
The
Right?
problem, the problem is bruisers should only be asking for it if they already have good positioning. And I
Exactly.
really feel
Yep.
like that sets the bruisers apart because only the good bruisers can call for a good sacred.
Yep. And it's all related to your quad. Like if your bruiser is like the only time where I would be like, okay, you know what, you should put it on them even though they're off point is for those that are helping inner lane. So if like your left side, maybe like your top left is helping inner lane win their fight and you see nothing underneath them and it's this big old clumpy mess, put a sacred. Just tell them like, hey, I don't have it for the next few seconds. When you declump, expect it to be back where it should be. Because you're only gonna not have it for like 7 seconds, right? You'll get it back with your autos. So then the next time that you put it down, tell them it'll be back where it is because we already helped with Oppo. That's the only other time I would think that it would be okay to kind of put it off to the side because sometimes the clump is so big that the G8 Sacred won't be the only thing that'll keep it, you know?
And I think because every healer is secretly a pointor. All of you just care about who has the highest numbers. Um, the AOE is going to overwrite all of your sacreds on crashes.
Yep.
They heal for more. You're placing dead sacreds, and sometimes you'll see at the end of a war where it's like, oh, this one, for some reason, one ball healer had 500,000, sometimes even up to 1 million healing more than all of the other ball group healers. It's like, well, yeah, that's because they put their sacreds in their quads, and they didn't let them all get overridden by the AoE healer in every crash. Like you do so much more healing and you help your group so much more. by not just essentially deleting your own sacred, putting it on top of the AoE healers.
Alright, another thing. Let me see, I want to copy this. There you go. Am I able to paste? What is this? How do I put a thing on here? I want to copy, cut, and paste. That is not what I wanted to do. Nope. Damn it. I have a picture I wanted to show. Guess we're not gonna do that. No, it's not.
Try making a new in the file, just hit new and then just paste into that and see if it goes.
We'll go back to this. What the heck? What? Okay, whatever. I'm not even gonna bother. We'll look at that later. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and bloop, 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 get all this. Sacred
Quad
placements.
DPS lives matter, by the way.
Yes, they do. Yeah, we're gonna talk about that. How do we help people survive crashes? And they do matter. All right, so like I said, you're quad, you're sacred. Now I know some people are like, well, the crash is down here, and like, you know, why would the sacred even matter? Like I said, the declumping is what kills people or keeps them up. The declumping, so they can be down here and be on top of the AOE sacred. They declump whenever they're low, and if they don't jump onto something else that's giving them fortify, they're gonna end up dying. That's where your sacred placement really matters. So you want to spread them out on point as much as possible. If your quad healers are very strict and disciplined about where they're putting their sacreds, and that it's pretty much always on point, that leaves your G1 and G2 to put it in places that matter, depending on where the crash is. And then obviously your AoE will be exactly wherever it should be. So it really is good to look at that diagram. It also explains where G1 and G2 should put theirs. They should be communicating at least a little bit on where they're putting their sacreds. G1, G2 healing is special in the sense that you can collaborate with another healer at the same time that you're warring. And you can talk to each other about like where places are that's safe to heal from. They're kind of like having a best friend that's there also in the mayhem. That's really nice. So that's sacred placements. Oh, if you're a G1, G2 healer and the AoE dies, G1 takes over for AoE. So the only time that doesn't happen is if the G2 healer has higher focus. It'll probably be best for them to take over AoE, and then G1 does whatever they want. But you guys have to establish between the G1 and G2 who takes over whenever AoE dies. And you have to communicate that. So G1 should tell G2, hey, AoE dies, I'm going to start putting mine on clump. So that way they can look for other spots. Or, like, you guys just have to talk with each other and see who's supposed to be the one that's going to be putting it underneath the crash.
So you're saying our G1 and G2 shouldn't be muting each other?
No, they should not.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Especially if, like, G1 is down and then your AoE is having trouble. Right? AoE's down here. Here's my G2. My G1's dead. AoE is starting to get dogged. You should be healing that AoE. Having them at the same call, because AoEs don't even talk much anyway. So if you're hearing like, oh man, I'm in a road, I'm getting dogged, your G2 healer should be looking to help out. That's like your backup. They're literally backups for each other. That's why it's important for you to have them unmuted and actually talk to them. If you find out, like, let's say you're G1, you're in the middle of this road, and you're getting dogged. You're noticing it's just not safe here. But hey, your G2 is up here. They can tell you, like, hey, come up the top right. And you're safe. It's just good to have another buddy that can help you out. You can even ask them for heals if y'all are close to each other. So it works out. So let's talk about how we survive crashes, because honestly, this is what sets everyone apart. If you can't help your team survive crashes, then you're not doing your job. That's like a bad benching angle if you don't even improve in that. So, crashes. They're predictable, right? On attack, the people, like, you'll find that your shot caller will voice these crashes first, right? So let's say you put a crash down here. For attack, let's see. You're gonna hear the shot caller voice a crash. Do not clap with the first crash that happens on attack, because that's our crash, right? That's your people crashing. Those are the deados for your group. Immediately after your group deados is when you'll see a second wave of deados that is the recrash on the fence side. That is the one that matters for you to clap along with. That's the one that you want people to survive. If you waste your clap on the first crash call from your shot caller, there's no, you're not going to heal anything because it's you people, like, it's your deados. Your people aren't going to get low. The second wave of deados that decides whether or not people survive. And that's where your clap comes in. Premeditated claps are great. Whenever you hear that crash call from whoever your shot caller is, ignore the first one, watch it, watch your people. I'm talking go alt look above points, see where they're at, watch your people and their health bars on top of their names. The ones that are up here, all these like health bars that are at the top of your screen, those are delayed by like a second. I want you to look at them in the middle of crashes. Um, you'll be able to see the enemy's deados go off. The instant you see those enemy deados go off, maybe you can wait like half a second and then clap. And then what you'll end up seeing is that their bar will be like low and then instantly come back up with your clap. And that's how they survive their crashes. It's a lot of timing. If you notice that during these crashes that for some reason your bruises aren't in them, for instance, that's why it's important to look at the crash. Let's say you only have one bruiser right here, you see that name tag, but for some reason the other one is either dead or he's over here with the VGIG. All you have is one dude in this clump. Instead of preemptively doing a clap while that crash is happening, you can do your DE instead, and you don't have to waste a clap. You can do a DE. So you still have a heal for everyone else. Again, on attack, you clap with the second Deado wave. On defense, right? Defense. The first Deado wave is the one you need to clap with. Because that's, the attacking side's Deado. That is the one that you need to clap with. So that's the difference between, attack and defense. First, second Deado on attack is where you need to clap. First Deado on defense is where you need to clap, so that way you can try to get people to survive as much as you can on point. It's also important to not just waste claps willy-nilly, right? Like, you can't just be given claps at random. There is a reason for them. I want you to clap, like, in between, like, these deados and these crashes. You can clap in between, but what's a good time to clap, right? So clapping, usually for 2 or more people that are 75% health or less, or you're seeing them, like if you're watching over this point, because you should be alt looking as much as you can, you'll be able to see that like they're in a shit position, they're going to end up taking damage too. You can do preemptive claps for that. And kind of, you can see how they're about to take a shit ton of damage. If you can time it with the clap, cool. But the point is 2 or more people that are taking damage, 75% health or less. For DE, the best one, if you're going to do a sequence DE, is go for the first person that's below 50% and then switch to your next target. So you can reuse your DE as much as possible. You can use a DE when they're above 50%, but you should have a backup clap, since this thing won't instant refresh. If you're gonna DE above 50%, have a clap on hand, since your DE will not refresh. If your DE is given on someone who's below 50, expect that it will probably refresh. There's a bug in the game. Sometimes you heal someone that's below 50 with a DE and it doesn't look like it refreshed. It usually does. You just have to keep spamming it. It's a visual bug. It looks like it's on cooldown, but it's not. So keep that in mind. If you have someone who needs chained DEs, they keep, requiring DEs. They keep going below 50. You're giving them one, they're below 50 again immediately, give them another one. You're going to keep giving DEs until they don't need it. By that, I mean you're looking at their health bar and where they're playing, as well as looking at their health, like, onto the side. So I don't want you to, for instance, I've seen this play out where they're like, oh, Anya, I healed them with a DE up until they were like 80% health. I didn't think he was still in danger. I didn't think to, actually look where he was and still prep another one just in case. I stopped because they were at 80%, and then they went back down to like 30 in 0.5 seconds because they were actually still being dogged. I didn't bother to actually look where they were. A lot of healing is actually babysitting your freaking people and looking at them a lot and pretend they're toddlers. It's like they're always gonna get in trouble somewhere. You gotta keep watching them.
That's me.
Basically, Mansky. Yep. If you just have to always keep an eye on your people. Keep an eye on the health bars that's above their head, as well as the one on the side. Remember that delay can end up deciding whether or not they live or die. Which is why whenever I notice that they're going down and they're going down consecutively, and it looks like I gotta give them more than one DE, I'm already looking at them on point to see where they're at, so I know when to stop, so I don't waste one. Any
So
questions?
can you give us so I'm just gonna throw out a hypothetical just so we make sure we're tracking it all. It's an attack. You are bot right quad, and your caller says that you're going to be crashing top left.
Hmm.
You have full kit up. What is your order of operations? Like what are you doing?
So your bruisers are down here,
Yeah,
initially?
so you're bot right, and they're going to be crashing into top left.
Alright, so we're gonna pretend like I'm sitting myself, like, down here. These guys are gonna move up. You move up to maintain that 25 meters. They're gonna go in. They might even go in a little late. I want you to look at the deados that are happening here even before they get there. Because, like I said, the first wave of deados on attack is yours. So even if they get there late, right? Even if they get there late, this first wave of deados is ours. They wouldn't even be touching them to get any sort of damage anyway. The second wave of deados is where you would clap. And you'd be staring at your people and seeing where they're at in relation as well. Um, so yeah, that's what I would say would be happening. You can move up as well. I mean, you can move straight to point and step here.
And when do you drop your sacred and where?
Well, right now because they're already like here, you can make that your first prio. Like as you're moving up, you put the sacred, wherever the heck you might need it. I would say like right here would be a good one, or right here. To just look at the point because in a perfect world, every sacred's put where they need to be. It's not like that. Just I want you to kind of put it near your quad. But if you find none or like there's none in the bottom right, that's probably the most important one, by the way. Then put yours there. Put yours wherever the heck you need to be. I'm saying as you walk up to step before they get to this clump. Does that make sense?
So you're also looking at where the other sacreds aren't and are trying
Yes.
to support that.
So if we're gonna do this again based off what I would be doing, as these guys are pushing up, I move forward to step. I place my sacred. And I clap, and then I clap with this second Dedo. Makes sense?
Yep. I did not know about the first to second Dedo delay. It's
Yep.
definitely interesting.
Right. Any questions? Oh. And to put a point to what Bargod said, your DPS do matter. So that doesn't mean I want you to, like, let's say your DPS is for some reason assigned way over here and you're healing where it is on the diagram. I don't want you to be like, oh, let me come here and try to heal them. Like, that's not how it works. It's, hey, if they're low, hover over them. See if you can get them from where you're at. I do not want you to compromise your position to heal these guys because they technically know that they shouldn't be expecting heals. However, a lot of them are trained to go back to the quad that their healer is at so that way maybe they can get a clap. Or a DE. I have definitely DE'd my DPS if I know that they're close by and it's below 50. That's like my one caveat. If they're below 50, I'll give them the DE because it instantly comes back to me anyway, and I'll have it for the rest of my group. They have to be close. I think the two prerequisites is like below 50, right? Like below 50, and they're close. Like they're within the 25. I'm not gonna come way over here so that way I kill this guy. Maybe at most I'll move a little bit to the right if they're like right here. And that's like at most. I don't even think I don't even know if I would really do that. But you can keep them up. A good healer will also look out for them and at least see if they're within range for a DE. At least see it. Any questions? I think we're done with that.
Makes sense so
Uh,
far.
if you do clap versus DE correctly, you'll have a heal for most of the important crashes and the important uh timers on your side. So you'll literally almost always have a heal if you're doing it right. Um, in a perfect world, it would be like that. All right, so how best to use your rapier? Oh my gosh, this one. Okay, I'm gonna start off with Flachet. Flachet is not to get out of huge ass clumps. Flachet is stopped by everything. So you can get ice walled, you can get shocked out of it, you take damage during it. It's not you don't get any iframes from Flachet, you take damage while you're flasheing away. The best case scenario is like if you guys are next to each other, let's say you're the star and then here's your bad guy, right? He's on you. And now you're gonna about to be hunted by two of them. Your first instinct should not be to instantly Flachet when they're already on you, because they can stop that and you take damage. A Flachet is used whenever you already have distance. So you can roll once and then Flachet, you can evade backwards and then Flachet, but it's meant to be done whenever you already have distance. In Kill Squad, you try not to Flachet before they use their Leaping Strike. Leaping Strike on Disruptors will close the distance of Flachet, and you're easy to predict with Flachet, so they'll just end up getting back on you. That's for Kill Squad healers. But for main ball, if they're already on you, don't use a Flachet to get out, because they'll just stop it. Instead, roll, create some sort of distance, and then Flachet. Or evade backwards, and then Flachet. Flachet where you need to go. Before you Flachet, look around you. I'm talking look bird's eye. Don't look straight forward, and then just go a random direction that you think is good. Take a second. All you need to do is look down on yourself and see where the red is and go wherever the heck you need to go. Um, evading. So evade only backwards. The evade forwards give barely any distance, and evade backwards is triple the distance. You can so if you want to just quickly look towards your enemy and then evade backwards, cool. Then you can Flachet out. Um, your grabs. If you're caught in the center of a grab, and I'm saying you're getting pulled to the center of a grab, you can Flachet out backwards.
Evade.
Or sorry, evade backwards out of the grav well. If you're caught on the edge of a grav, if you're like caught like right here, just jump out. You don't even need to dodge. You can just jump out. If you're caught in the middle, you evade backwards.
That will
Repost.
always carry you all the way out.
Yeah, it does always carry you all the way out, and you get iframes, so you don't even get hurt. Your Flachet, not your Flachet, your repost. A lot of people are scared of the repost, and I kind of get it, because if you don't use it right, you're a sitting duck. Um, but repost is really good for whenever you're getting dogged by multiple people, and it's guaranteed to pretty much hit. So if you know that, hey, I got 3 people on me, I want some iframes, I want to possibly stun them, put your repost up. Now, reposts will only stun if you stay facing their direction as you're hitting the animation to, hit them. And reposts, you're gonna stand like a sitting duck until they hit you, and then you're gonna, as the name suggests, repost, hit them back, and that will stun them. But you have to face their direction. Um, you can get out of a repost by evading out. You can't dodge out. You gotta evade out to end it early. What I like to do with reposts, like I said, if there's multiple people on me, multiple people all trying to just smack me with as much stuff as possible, reposting will get them off me, evade backwards. Either dodge or Flachet away. I like to dodge, just so I don't use up all my rapier abilities. And that's usually enough to get out. If you pass by a healer, please, like, if you see a healer that's low and they're passing by you, give them a heal. And then sometimes it's a certain tactic. It's not it's I don't like preaching it, but technically if you got to do it, you got to do it. If you got to pass aggro off to another healer, then so be it. Cuz the assumption is that they have all their cooldowns and you don't, so they would have an easier time living. So you can pass off the aggro and go try to get all your cooldowns back and get your health back up. So don't get angry if you see that happen. The only one that I would say don't do that is like kill squad, because you shouldn't even be close enough to another kill squad group to be passing aggro off like that. Your G7 healer should not be backing up towards our road. I guess it'd be this side. Your G7 healer shouldn't be backing up towards our road and then bringing all the danger to our healers that are down here. That would be like the only time that you wouldn't do that. What were you about to say, Mansky?
Oh, I was just gonna say, having sat in chat with all of the Group 7 people, and they played a million VODs. If a Group 7 or a Kill Squad watches you use all three of your rapier abilities, you become the only target for them for the next like 10 seconds. Like everyone is going to be on you. So if you evade, riposte, flashe, everything, you just made yourself the biggest target that they have.
And the thing is, like, how to survive, you need to not trade more abilities for what they're giving you. So if they just hit you with the shield bash, right? Don't be dodging, evading, and then like dodging, evading, and reposting away all for just one ability. Like you gotta make it worth it, right? Like don't panic. So that's usually what I find that healers do. They panic. They don't notice the stam. They don't notice like, oh, this guy's only auto attacking me. Like they don't even notice that. They'll just all the disruptor will do is just auto attack and they flip out and they do like 3 dodges and then they flashe away. They do an evade. Watch what they're doing, and try not to use too much of your stuff. Especially if it's just one disruptor, like one person shouldn't be hurting you. Alright, so I want to say that's it for rapier abilities. Can't think of anything else. The reposting with distance. Sorry, your flashe with distance. Your repost. Oh, if you're really low, put a sacred on yourself. Don't be afraid to put a sacred on yourself. Your health is more important than your group's health. Because in theory, if you die, they all die anyway. Right? Don't be afraid to put sacreds on yourself. If you're extremely low, do not switch out your rapier for a life staff. I know everyone does that. It's like, hey, I want to give myself a DE. Keep the repost up, please. Not the repost, the rapier. The rapier is meant to kind of stabilize your health. Once you find a good time to actually give yourself a health is whenever you do your life staff. So rapier is to stabilize. Life staff is to give yourself health. If you're not stabilized in health, it means that you're still getting shitted on and dogged, and you don't find like a good opportunity to give yourself a health. Then pulling out like the life staff will just be your death. People that think that clap is faster than DE, that's a lie. Clap is like actually slower by half a second.
Side note for healers too. Most of you're gonna be up against like spear players too, right? Like if it's a spear sweep, you can block that.
Mhm.
It's the easiest thing ever, and it's the most effective thing.
Don't
Go
like
block
I
a great
know
sword.
for main ball, a lot of people unblind the block. Just put it on a different key, because I know like um whenever you want to cancel a heal, you shouldn't be dodging, right? You should be kind of left clicking, putting up like or whatever the button might be, or
Right
autoing,
clicking the
right
fake
clicking.
block.
Yeah, the fake block. You should still have your block somewhere bound though. I know in Kill Squad you should have it bound. Um, the things that you can block include most spear abilities. You can block the Scorp. It's great. And SNS abilities. Do not block the Greatsword. Greatsword will completely take your stam. But your SNS and your spear abilities, really easy to visualize. Like the shield rush thing, that one you can tell from a mile away. You can just block that. And they do not take a lot of stam. If you're wondering, they don't. They don't take the 40. They take maybe 20. It's very little stam, so you can't do that. Um,
You can also sort of just tell based on who's on you. I mean, there's two roles in the disruptor at the
mhm.
moment. If the person that attacking you has a spear, he's just looking to CC you and lock you down so that somebody else can follow up. If the person that's attacking you has a great sword, that guy is the one that's actually looking to get the kill on you. So if
Yeah.
the guy that's rushing you has a spear, just expect, all right, this guy's about to throw every single annoying CC ability at me, but he doesn't have the damage to kill me.
Um, Also back to my point, if you put a sacred on yourself and you're really low, keep the rapier out. Don't underestimate your sacred. Like your sacred gives you fortify. You'd be surprised how you live. Don't leave it. I've seen some people that are like, I'll put a sacred on myself, and then they're still really, really low, and they still jump out. No, stay there. If you have your repost, you kind of want to be a sitting duck with the repost because you still get the iframes, and then if you they like wait for you to get out of your repost while you're low and in your sacred, you actually get 2 ticks of your sacred, so that gives you some health back. And then just expect to spam dodge the crap out of there once you're out of your repost animation. So you so don't underestimate your sacred. Don't underestimate your repost. Um, I know that there's some kill squad healers that'll purposely kind of let their repost sit there on top of their sacred whenever they're low, so they can get some ticks and get iframes, so they get the ticks up because they have nothing else. DE versus your pot, health pot. Your DE is an animation, and you do not get an instant health. You have to let the animation conclude, and then you get the health, right? A pot is an instant health that comes with an animation. If you are ever playing for your life, your pot would be your first choice, not the DE. I know the DE would give more health in theory because you're low, but because you're stuck in animation and you don't get instant health, that is not the way to go whenever you're playing life. You hit your pot. Sacred and pot. Or pot and sacred. You'll. It depends on the scenario. That's what VODs are for. But your pot over your DE in terms of playing life.
Especially if you're, I want to kind of add to that. If you're looking for distance, you definitely want a pot over the DE. Pot also gives you fortify if you're running fortifying toast, so keep that in mind as well.
Yep. I think that's good for how to play life. There's some other stuff in there, but at that point it would be more for VODs with examples. I think that's a good bit.
One little thing I just wanted to add was dodge jumping.
Oh yeah.
Creating a little more distance. I didn't hear it gone over, but just creating a little more distance, it'll help you not double dodge as much also. And so just get in the habit of knowing when to jump after, such as like you have evade down, you get hit with another grab while running out. You can dodge jump out of it instead of double dodging, and it'll usually reset you, get your stand back up to where you can dodge without stamming uh, the next time.
With that in mind, jumping, if you're at an ice, was it
Ice Storm.
ice storm? There you go. Jump. Don't run. Don't dodge. Dodge
Hmm.
will also be slowed. You might as well just jump. It's like that glacial Tarn boss, where you gotta jump around whenever you're in his storm. Um, Same thing. Jump. If you're hit by an ice wall, you can also jump, because it's gonna slow you for a while. So don't underestimate jumps. All right, Fort Macro. Oh boy, this is its own thing. This is kind of explained what you're supposed to do on point. You're positioning around point. Fort is his own beast. It kind of depends on your defense versus attack, but your rotations are pretty much the same. I have a very crude diagram, and I'm talking super crude, but we're gonna go with it.
Like it's
Um,
foul, like you got like bad words on it and stuff, maybe boobies or
no,
something.
it's you'll see. Hold up, we're gonna open this up. All right, we're gonna switch over screens, change windows. Well, bang. All right, I made this a long time ago. We're gonna go over it. I think it's beautiful. You can judge my stuff anyway. Um, every single one of these lines is a different rotation you can have. I don't think I can do any more adjustments to this, unfortunately. You just have to follow my cursor. If you're going in, and this is on attack, if you're going in through A, you want to hug your sides of the gate. And I want you to hug up to the horn and cast down. That's what these arrows on dirt for. You're casting down. You can technically go to dummies. That's not always the safest. And then going down, you can go up to shops and then cast down. These are like the way you can do it for casting in dirt while your people are pushing in. First and foremost, you do not push in when they say to push in. You let your healers, no, sorry, you let your bruisers go in first. You let the initial clump form. You let them push in. Their bruisers will then follow your bruisers, and then it'll be freer to go into fort. You put in your cleanse, your regions, your fires before going in, particularly your cleanse, and you walk in. Uh, don't like waste all your abilities just trying to get in, because guaranteed you will end up probably needed over here to survive. Um, do what you got to go in, but I don't want you to use everything, because then how are you going to survive like being up on stage or being up in shops if people come towards you? So the idea is you use cleanse so you can like jump, roll up. Maybe at most use a flechette, like at most. Uh, Coming up to shops. Be wary of going straight to heaven because we haven't established control yet up there. I usually like going straight to stage, hell, shops, or beneath banners. The
To
things
be
that you're
clear,
gonna
heaven is the wall over B gate.
right, heaven is the wall over B gate. This is for side points, right? Like if you're already healing at B gate, you can kind of just stay here. Um, you don't immediately need to go in. Again, you need your bruisers to push up. Once they're pushed up, you can start coming in to start healing. If you're free to heal from B gate, then I mean you can stay there. Usually they jump down on people or they start pushing healers out, and trying to kill them out here. You don't want to be stuck out here, so that's why sometimes it's better for you to come inside. Um, you're gonna see people healing from stage once we have control. You can heal from hell, it just really sucks. You gotta be careful of doing that. I like healing underneath banners and on top of like this hay stack that's on off to the side of B. Killing underneath banners here. Going up to be heaven whenever we have control. And ideally your kill squad will tell you guys in main comms whenever you have top heaven control, so that way your healers can come up. And then these blue lines represent your ability to heal. Once you get on top of B, the most that you can get healing wise is like right to the tip of point. Like you won't be able to heal all of hell. Like the most you'll be able to hit is like right here. Now that we no longer have an LOS issue, you can heal from top B and heal directly below you. So that is amazing. A lot of these little spots and crannies that weren't really good are now good. So that would be like in between. Because if you heal through B, you can actually hide yourself in like the wall to the side and heal without actually looking at your team. Um, there's some little cubbies that are like right here on the first floor, like on the ground. You see some cubbies off to the side you can technically heal from. I always like healing from horn if we have it available, but you can only go to like this far into point. If you do heal in hell, there's a cart up here you can stand on. There's a cart on this side you can stand on. You can hide yourself in the mesh in like putting your back to stage. The idea in fort is to always be looking around you with outlook. Keep an eye on what's going on. You do not need to be stepping to create tick. Right now it's just you need to survive. Dirt is the worst place to play in. You stick out like a sore thumb. Their enemy kill squads are looking for people to kill right here. Be wary. Don't do that. I like doing rotations. I'll start off below banners. If I start feeling pressured, I go to the next banner. I then go up to shops. If it's free, I heal here. I drop down and heal again in this banner. And I kind of do like this loop on one side. Some people, it's really dangerous to make this trek that goes through dirt. You have to be very careful when you do it, because if you ever want to heal through stage, then you can jump to hell, go back up the stairs, heal at stage, jump down to hell, go back up the stairs. You can do this loop here and kind of get people off of you. The same thing applies for healing inside fort. You clap for whenever, two or more people are low. You're looking for crashes. The same thing applies. Second crash is wherever you would clap for attack. First crash is defense. You do not have to worry about stepping here. It's so chaotic. I do not want you to worry about stepping. I want you to worry about your positioning in fort. If you are my back gate people, a good place to heal from is right on top of E and right on top of D. And I'm talking like the first landing, not all the way to the top. And you're able to heal pretty 2 point and like majority of dirt. You're able to heal this much. Pretty good distance. Trying to think of anything else. That's pretty much Fort Phase. If there is a regroup angle in Fort Phase, get the fuck out. If you are on defense, you can start off in shops. Do not stay in shops as they push in because guaranteed there will be people coming up here to destroy shops. Go up B heaven as people push in. Once you lose B heaven, you can start these different rotations. I personally like to heal from the horn on defense and then push into our stage, assuming we still have control as my people are going in. You can go either way. Either way works. Any questions or anyone want to add something?
I
Oh,
would note for especially on attack, it's definitely really super important to be listening for the respawns
I was about to say
because
that. I was like, wait, I forgot that.
I'll let you finish.
Respawns. Don't be healing near the respawns whenever you're attacking, because they'll come up and smack you in the face. If you died uh, in defense, be wary of where you respawn. If you know that we don't have back gate control and you respawn in back gates, you can die, like, off the rip. Shops. If you're healing from shops, listen to respawns. Um, if you're lucky, I'm not suggesting it for everyone. I have done this where I've healed from shops and I'm on attack. I hear respawns coming in. I back up into shops. People respawn in front of me. They immediately jump off and I go back to casting. That's a bit
Ballsy.
extra. It's a bit ballsy. I won't suggest that for everyone, but I've done that.
Um, Two, I would also note that like when respawns hit, um, one for the people that are on the back, it's at the top of the stairs. But if you're ever wondering where the respawns are, it's always where the shops are. There's two shops in back, and there's shops in front on left and right. Right where the shops are, that's where the respawns hit. But also, especially on attack, especially if we have tick, when respawns hit, that's where we're going to need a lot of heals on point very soon
Mhm.
because they're
Um,
going to crash.
Another thing for your pot management in fort, it's a tad different than outside of fort. Outside of fort, you hit fire pot whenever you're getting pelted by fire. In fort, I would just put them on cooldown. The chances of you putting them on using them whenever you need is going to be low just because it'll be hard to reach them because of animation. By the time you're pelted with fire, you're already looked at by like two other people. It's rarely ever just a fire staff. They're usually a disruptor that calls you out plus a fire staff. So you need to play live. So I would be popping those fire pots on cooldown once you get into fort. If you have a lot of cleanse pots, and it's only like 5 minutes left, you can be a little bit more liberal if it means that you can get to a better spot to heal when it comes to the cleanse pots. Um, I
One big thing about cleanse pots, they don't have an animation, so
they don't.
you can pop them at any moment, and you won't go through an animation. Add that in.
So I want to also talk about the what's it called? Called the stats. Thank you, Nami, for bringing that up. I don't know if I should show stats on here. I guess I can show one from Delos and explain stuff. Here, let me show one from Delos. I just don't want to. There's too many people that have overlapping stuff. But I know Delos. Hmm. I don't have access to the Delos ones. So I want to talk about what your stats mean because a lot of people think it's just the dang number and that what determines what you're if you're a good healer or not. It is not. Okay, it is not what determines if you're a good healer. I don't care if you got 3 million. If your people died a lot, that's a problem. Um, your damage also tells us what you're doing during war. There's something called attacks per minute, APM. The more you dodge, it's implied. Sorry, not the more you dodge. The more that you auto, and the more damage you have, implies that you're able to get cooldowns more, which implies that you're able to heal more, which usually relates to your people living more. So I don't want you to only look at your health number. I usually am able to look at your heal numbers, your damage, your deaths in group versus your own deaths and kind of give a story about what I think happened. So let me see. Let's see if anyone have a good stat sheet because I just don't have any. Let me see.
Yeah, let me
You
take
pull
a
one of
look
the
at what
GA
we did.
ones.
Yeah, GA, you're right. Let me
Yeah,
take a
because we
look.
didn't war any of these people in GA.
War scoreboard. Oh, where's one that we were having trouble with? I don't want to out people.
Well, I can give you some names.
Hold up. Give me a second.
Oh dear.
Win? Was this a win? This was a win. I want to go to one of our tough ones. Where's an L? Here you go. Ooh, let's do that last tuple war.
Yeah, they're
Yeah, let's do
speedrunners.
that one. Let's open this link here. Hell yeah, this last tuple war. This'll say a whole story.
Oh,
All
you
right,
It's
got
let's.
one?
fun.
Okay, I was gonna send you one, but
No, we can do that one too, because we can go over multiple stories, and this will also be like a how the reviewers should be looking at stats to see who actually needs a review. Um, Let me change up this screen, change windows. All right, so let's talk about this. I don't know if y'all can see this. Is it too zoomed?
We can, but if you
Zoom?
zoom in a little bit more, it'd be easier. There, perfect.
All right, so let's look at this. Da, 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 da. Let me go through here. All right. So I want to explain like Chaco. Chaco's in here, so we're gonna explain Chacos. Group 7 and any kill squad healer, you will look and see that their damage is less than the average. Right, look at this. Group 10 had like 10k. The, this war only lasted for like 23 minutes anyway.
Yep.
Point being, their damage should be significantly lower than the damage of our main ball. That's only because they can't auto as much. Your healing numbers again shouldn't matter, so I'm not looking at that. I'm looking at deaths, right? It's like Choco's group died 19 times. I mean, this was just a tough ass war. I know that they're probably getting plussed, and I'd be looking like to see VOD and see like, hey, what happened here? I bet you it's not Healer's fault. I'm gonna say that right now. It was not Healer's fault. I remember this war, uh, but it was just they got plussed and hard. Looks like Idabella did well, but then how did they right end up impacting like Group 9? Because Group 9 still had more deaths than kills, but yet these guys, Group 10 was winning. So you can tell a whole bunch of stuff. Like for instance, for me, I always say that if you have clap, your minimum damage should be 100k. 100 to 150 is your average, with 100 being your minimum. If you go above 100k, you're going above and beyond with getting your cooldowns back. Now, have had people that get good damage, but then they die a lot with high healing. That usually means they're stat padding. I've had people, that's how I'm able to tell if you're going 400, 200, by the way. You can tell. If you're going 400, 200, you're getting like a million over the other people, but you're dying a lot and your damage is low, it means that you're going 400, 200. If you end up having plenty of damage, 200, blah, 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 but your group has high deaths, I can tell that you're prioing, autoing, and not reacting fast enough to group deaths. So I can tell that. All of this coincides. If you have like, you know, top deaths, but you're healing, but everyone else is like, let's say you have like 5 deaths. Say I have 5, everyone else had like 1 or something. That usually means that I'm actually hero healing. I give up my life to make sure other people are still alive. You're not supposed to do that. Um, I can tell that all off of stats. I think this one is a bad one just because it ended early. Let me see if I can find a better one because I can't like be real with this one at all. Here goes, Zoldy. You
I
gave it to me. Let me
I
copy
sent you
image.
one. That's actually the war that just happened on West.
Okay. Can y'all see it
Mhm.
already? I kind of just instant opened it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Let's take a look at this. This is AoE. I don't care. Damage 200. Pretty good. Healing good. 19. Decent. Just because I can tell it's decent because I compare it to the other numbers. Everyone else has like mid 20s. So decent for this terms, right? I actually don't think these are high deaths. And group 1 will rarely ever have kills. They're not meant to have a lot of kills. Let's go back to group 2. Group 2, 160, good. Healing, good. Death's good. However, Group deaths is looking spicy. Let's go over here to group 7. Actually, no, let's go to group... Man, you guys have it flip-flopped. Okay, group 3. Good, good. What the heck happened here? Okay, not gonna
That's
go
for
through
quad
that.
DPS.
Alright, that guy needs a review. If it went for him, this healer has only like 3 deaths, 4 deaths max on the other people. So this healer did really well. Yeah, this healer did really good because the only
Wait,
one
no,
that...
that's not their quad DPS.
Okay,
That's a bruiser.
Ooh,
It
that's a
has to be
that
bruiser.
because
is.
their quad
Also
DPS
worth
is
noting,
5 million damage.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
15
no, that
kills.
is.
that was
Oh.
actually not the original group healer either.
I,
That was a
I wonder if
call-in.
that got. I wonder if that was supposed to be 5. I'll look back on that. I wonder if that got fat fingered.
I was
No,
about to
it's
say
That might.
15.
that's...
I was
That
in
might
that
have
group.
got.
That's
I'll
15.
look.
It's
It
in-
was it 15?
It's 15. Yeah, he mental
Oh.
moved.
Okay.
Ooh, okay, we'll move on. We'll move on. We'll
Yeah,
move on.
I was gonna say I'm not gonna go
We'll,
on that.
yeah, we'll
All
move
right,
on
group
from that.
4. Ooh, group 4. 3.261. There's a good chance. Who's this one? Who's Moan for Heals? This number is really above any other number. It's a little weird. Because their deaths are technically the same as like up here in group 2.
Probably because they
Uh,
were killing Kuda. I'm just saying. When I healed Kuda, my heals were off the charts. Boy takes so much damage.
Maybe. This would be like, and it doesn't mean that they're bad. Like, I'm only suspicious because this
Maybe
number
for
is like
200.
way more than anything else that's on here. Like, it is way more. This is
But the same amount of deaths for
with the
group,
same amount of
basically.
deaths. That's why I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not sure if this is accurate or there's a
No,
chance that this
it's right
person
to the
does 400, 200.
maybe.
There's a chance that
Take a
this
look
person
at it.
does. Yeah, so take a look at this one. Because these deaths are just the same as... No, they're literally like worse than group 5. This healing number is almost like it's like 800 lower than this
It
one, and
happens,
yet these two are
though.
the same.
There's wars where I've definitely had more deaths than other healers and still out healed them. Like, I mean, it does happen.
Well, no, I'm not looking at your like the healers deaths. I'm looking at group deaths, which is 24.
Oh, gotcha.
There's a lot more group deaths here. Meanwhile, compared to this one, like I bet you this is... I'm gonna ignore that number. I'm gonna say like this person died 5 times before it started getting real bad. Okay, but even then, this person did amazing because everyone else said 3, 3, 3. I'm gonna pretend like that's a 5, 4. That's really low. That's like 18 deaths in this group with this amount of healing, which is close to everyone else. Meanwhile, this person got like 800 more, and then we're looking at these deaths, and they're not anything lower. Then we're looking at group 5. Group 5 and group 6 you can compare. Group 4 and group 3 you can compare. So 5 and 6 you can compare these two and see how each healer did. This guy doesn't auto enough. He doesn't. I bet you he, from what it looks like on deaths, yeah, so what I'm looking on deaths, he doesn't auto as much because he's looking around to heal his people. Because he actually didn't... It's not a bad number. It's average with like group 2. It's average with group
He's
6. It's average
a
with
kill
group 4.
squad main and got thrown in quad tonight, so he
That
flexed
makes a
out.
lot of sense.
That
Hell
he's a
yeah,
kill
that...
squad. Yeah, so he's a
Yeah.
kill squad main is why
I was about
that
to say, he's not
happened.
autoing enough. I bet you he's looking around. That makes a lot of sense, because that's what kill squad people do, right? Like, they don't auto as much. They look around more. And that explains this number. So I was able to tell that this was a little off. And now you're telling me it's kill squad, it makes sense. So now we're looking at, like, deaths versus group. I think this is okay. I think this is average for this one. Group 5 looks like... This is what? 5 is top left. Weak side. A little harder for them to get kills, but at the same time, it should not be only 7. Everyone else has 22, 20, 24. This group only had 7. So what I'm looking at is possibly... There's two scenario. Like, there's one scenario that I'm thinking is probably going to be the key. They couldn't get as many kills because they didn't feel like they could secure their side. They're playing much more safe. That's what I'm seeing from what this means. This healing number is fine. Damage number is fine. Assist is fine. these assists are 394 compared to Group 6, which is their comparison, 394. The exact same number. Why do these guys have 7 kills?
Because Group 6 killed them all, those sons of bitches. Thieving IDGAF up there who stole every kill from Group 5.
Oh, that's a quad. That's a quad though.
Bastard.
I think that's I think that's our bow quad.
Yeah, there's still some, like, what I can tell overall, though, is that you guys are still dying a little too much. Like,
Oh yeah.
as an army, you guys are dying way too much. Because even 24 deaths or 29 deaths is still really high. Now, is it average for your army? Yes. That's just why I say 24 deaths is good for, like, here. That's why I think this guy did really good. Because minus this one, he would have done great.
That dude was literally half of the deaths for his
Yes, he
over.
was. That's why I'm trying to ignore it. But I think you guys still need to not die as much because this is still like high deaths. These numbers should have been up. That just means that they were playing incredibly safe. They weren't even bothering to try to go and secure kills for Group 5.
And Group 4 has too high of deaths for as much healing as he does. So
Yes.
he might be timing his heals incorrectly
Yes.
or running high focus and padding.
Yep. There's also a chance that this guy is clapping at inappropriate times because you'll find big numbers like this for people
Like a
that don't
funeral.
care to hold claps. Like they'll clap at whenever to top people off so that they constantly get some sort of green number on the screen, but they're not clapping at the right times to actually save the group. That might be what you're finding here. There's different things you could tell with stats. And then kill squads are their own thing. I don't even look at stats for kill squads all that much, just because it's its own world. You have to actually look at the VOD to see anything. I've seen like group 7s that look like they're struggling, like they're like the kills, like this is all a mess, like they have more deaths than kills. And yet they still held their own when it mattered in their VOD. So I don't want to look at any of these. The only thing
Yep,
you will
that makes
see
sense.
here is that like Group 8. Group 8 is basically a quad. So that one I would look at. Group 8 is basically a quad. So you'll see them like being able to auto attack more because they don't have a sender. They don't have anyone that's focusing on this healer. This healer is just living his life. He's 27. Yeah, that's about average for the army. And it looks like only 11 deaths. So if Group 8 got 11 deaths, which is the same side as Group 6 and Group 4, did Group 6 and Group 4 take all the kills that are meant to be in inner lane? That's Group 8? The Group 6 and Group 4 go off point a lot to help the Oppo?
Group 8 got distracted wide because we had
Oh,
a BV in the back lane trying to run down Group 9's healer the whole time.
okay, never mind then.
So I don't want to talk about Group 8 tonight. I felt like I was solo out there in that lane. It was
Which
rough.
one? Which war is this, by the way?
This is the war we just had, Pharma versus Hold W.
Oh shit, dog.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right,
This is
Anya,
Hold up, this is
pull up
Group
the
8?
pharma stats.
yeah,
Hold the hell up. Migo was Group 8?
yeah. It was rough. Oh,
Wait, they
yeah. I
weren't
gotta.
facing the right people. Did y'all know that? Like this is our Group 7 was fighting Group 8.
Why was Group 7 fighting us? That
You're
shit
supposed
hurt.
to flip.
On Reekwater?
Yep.
Yeah, Reekwater,
Okay.
you do an A point
Supposed
hold and
to
you
flip.
flip weak sides.
They
Weak
didn't
side
do
is on
that
the other
shit.
side. Yeah.
Yeah.
Reekwater is like
That's
Morningdale.
that's
Nah,
why y'all were getting screwed.
yeah, they didn't call that at all.
That's why these guys are doing well, because I
Funny.
mean,
They're just
yeah,
eating over there.
yeah, that's you know what? That actually that hurt both armies, because that means that we like beat Group 8, but our Group 8 couldn't beat Group 7, because that's why this Group 7 looks really good.
Yeah, I was
But
wondering.
that it
Uh,
literally hurt both sides.
yeah, because you guys had your quads out there, and that shit was rough. And then I got
Yeah,
moods looking at me, pinking me with a bow. Anyways, I won't get into it. It was fun. It was a good war.
it was a good war.
It was a good
This
war.
is just now y'all know, because these would be more even. So because you guys have this going on, like where we didn't switch, it just hurts both, like it hurts both armies, because I'm guessing this group 7 was owning our group 8. Vice versa, our group 7 was owning you guys.
Yeah, I couldn't secure a kill out there to save my life. It was rough.
Yeah,
Rough.
well,
Not enough.
okay. I mean, but it's on y'all though. Like you're supposed to switch. You're supposed to switch it up.
It's just like on
That's on
Morningdale.
the
If
shot
you go to
caller.
the A one, no, you're 100% right. They should
The,
have known to do that.
they didn't. I went right where the raid plan told us to go.
If you had gone to the other side, you'd have been wrong for not following the raid plan.
Exactly.
Yeah, it
Just told
wasn't.
you.
There's no way to win that
Yep.
scenario, but you're supposed to switch it up. Anyway, you guys can stop the recording. That's kind of all I got. We can just continue to talk about this, but this is. I don't want you to keep going, and this everyone's wondering like, oh, is there more to it? Like, nah, that's. We went over fort. We went over like what it takes to be a good healer. Everything that you need to think about. The basics. I'm assuming y'all have.